we're moving sort of fast towards the end of the program, but I think we can take a couple more sort of questions at most here. But the next one I really want to move to is from Abdul Rahman Saab. Jazakallah for your question. And he appreciates the program and asks, is the use of a rosary beads, the tasbih, as we say in Islam, a right thing to practice in Islam? Azhar Hanif Saab.
Well, it's not so much prohibited as it is less used as a practice of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it doesn't fall within the sunnah that we cherish as Muslims, that what was his style of life that we want to adopt. You see, he was a man focused on the mission of dhikrullahi, remembering Allah much. And so tasbih is related to that, you know, to a form of glorification of God. Tasbih, to remember God, glorifying Him as a being, and remembering Him and His perfection as you see the creation walking around. Allah says, "Yusabbihu lahu ma fis samawati wal ard." Everything in the whole earth glorifies God. So as we're moving in the earth, we should also be part of the process of that glorification. And this is what tasbih is about. Now, there were times when he taught us a method of this glorification to remember Allah. And in that process, he would mention numbers. You know, after a certain prayer service, you say this expression so many times, and this expression so many times, and this one so many times. And you earn as a result of that these type of blessings of reward, because Allah is pleased with that. He loves to hear the gratitude and the connection of his creation to Him, and seeing the blessings in front of them, and witnessing the unseen, and also acknowledging it for those around, that I'm bearing witness. I'm bearing witness that God is glory, God is great, you know. And so this is something that is a wonderful process. But if you limit it to numbers, it's like saying, how many times is it necessary to tell someone you love, your child, your spouse, I love you, and that's going to be enough? I did it 5 times in my lifetime in the marriage, so that should be enough, right? I've completed my number, you know? Yeah. It's not a numbers game. And so the tasbih sometimes focuses too much on the number as opposed to the very process of connecting to the glorification of God, which is non-ending.
So it could almost be a distraction.
It could be a distraction, which is why I believe the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not do it much. You know, you never saw him in the traditions moving around twisting beads in his hand. If you ever tried it, and I've tried it sometimes, the very process of counting the numbers makes me forget what I'm trying to say, you know. What number I'm on, 32 or 31? What was I saying now, you know? So it can, for some, it helps them. For others, it can be a source of distraction. So this is something, again, it's makruh perhaps in some book. That means it's not so well liked, but it's not forbidden. If one chooses to adopt it, all good and well, if this gets you to the end goal of tasbih, of remembering Allah much. But if you find that if you're losing focus and concentration, I would abandon it and not feel that I'm somehow abandoning an Islamic practice in the process, for you or not. It's a later form invented by people, or suggested by people, perhaps I should say.
Was it sort of, did it, you know, we see it in Catholicism with the rosemary beads. Was it something that sort of transferred over from another faith? As you said, it was more a practice?
Again, these things have always been there in religions, the rituals and rites of religions to achieve similar goals. Islam, as I see it, tries to keep things simple and tries to ensure that we don't lose sight of the real objective here. It's not to count out your steps to God. You know, it's to say with every step, I remember God. And if you do that, by the time you end your journey, I think you'll see, you know, God in front of you, inshallah. And this is what it's all about.
Focus on the deeds, not the beads, so to speak.
Focus on the remembrance, not on the numbers.
I mean, from beads, I've got to move to seeds of time. We've actually run out of time, I'm afraid, for this particular program. Time flies by, certainly in the company of you gentlemen. I think we've heard some very comprehensive answers, and it falls upon me to thank all 3 of you once again for your very detailed and scholarly contributions to a vast array of questions. And there were topics which were, I think, very pertinent to today's world. So Tahir Saab, Azhar Sahib, and of course Jahangir Saab, Jazakumullah on behalf of Faith Matters to all of you. And viewers, just to remind you again, you know what the email is, and you've probably thought, is he going to say it again? Well, I won't disappoint you. It's faithmatters@mta.tv. mta.tv. That's Faith Matters, one word, at mta.tv. And the fax number, once again, is 44 for the UK, 687 8037. The other thing, just to remind you, a lot of questions answered. Well, they're available on YouTube. That's youtube.com/MTA Online 1. That's the numeric 1. So you can actually tune in when Faith Matters isn't on the MTA channel. However, it will be. We'll see you again at next time on the next program. And let me assure you one thing. I've said at the start that we do get a lot of questions in. Your questions will be answered, and we seek to answer each one. And if it's not, bear with us. And if your bearing with you is a bit too much, write in again. Give us a gentle reminder that your question's still to be answered. But without you, Faith Matters wouldn't be the program it is. So Jazakumullah, thank you to all of you for your contributions. Jazakumullah once again to the panel. God bless you. Until the next time, from all of us here in London on Faith Matters, to you at home, Assalamu alaikum.